Welcome to Moonlight Recaps, where we specialize in sci-fi movie recaps, film recaps, and do an in-depth analysis to give you story explanations, movie explanations, and full movie retellings. Today's movie recapped is The Signal. Let's dive in. The movie begins with three friends, Nick, John, and Haley, all MIT students, as they set off on a holiday trip to California. While it's a getaway for Nick and John, Haley's journey marks the beginning of a significant year-long academic endeavor in California. Nick and John decide to accompany her to make the transition special, turning it into an unforgettable adventure. Nick, despite having a muscular disorder that affects his legs, is determined to savor every moment with Haley, who is also his girlfriend. The trio explores a variety of restaurants, indulges in delicious meals, and marvels at the stunning scenery. However, their tranquil evening takes a sharp turn when a message from someone named Nomad appears. Nick remembers Nomad as the hacker who recently infiltrated their college server, framing Nick and John. Alarmed, Nick quickly alerts John. The situation intensifies as Nomad hacks into Haley's laptop, sending disturbing messages. Driven by the need to confront Nomad, the friends decide to track him down. Their efforts pay off when they locate Nomad near their hotel. The next morning, Nick, feeling the weight of his condition, tells Haley about the worsening state of his legs. He tells her he may need a wheelchair soon and worries about being a burden to her. Haley, deeply in love with Nick, is heartbroken by the news. Later that day, the trio sets out to track down Nomad. By the time they reach the location, night has fallen. They find themselves in front of an eerie, rundown house. Nick and John, armed with cameras, decide to investigate, leaving Haley in the car for safety. Inside, they find it broken and dusty. Their search seems pointless until they hear Haley's terrified scream, compelling them to race back to the car, but Haley is gone. Desperate, they search the area and finally spot Haley standing still. In an instant, an unseen force yanks her upward, and a blinding light engulfs Nick and John, rendering them unconscious. When Nick awakens, he's in a wheelchair, disoriented and alone. He notices a sequence of numbers scribbled on his hand. 2, 3, 5, 41. Lost and confused, Nick grapples with the mystery of his surroundings, how he got there, and what has become of his friends. As Nick surveys his surroundings, a man approaches and leads him to Dr. Damon, who, along with other workers, is dressed in protective suits. Dr. Damon explains that the house they visited was once inhabited by an alien, and by entering, they became infected. Therefore, Nick is there for treatment. To support his claims, the doctor shows Nick a recording that reveals an alien figure lurking behind a tree on the night of Haley's disappearance. Terrified, Nick anxiously asks about John and Haley, but the doctor remains silent and sends him back to his room. In the days that follow, Dr. Damon relentlessly questions Nick about the number of fingers on his hand and any unusual sensations he might be experiencing. During one of his routine trips to see Dr. Damon, Nick catches a glimpse of Haley confined in a room. Though he longs to reach her, he is denied access, leaving him frustrated. However, hope flickers when he hears John's voice coming from a nearby room. Overwhelmed with joy, Nick and John reconnect and share their harrowing experiences within the confines of the facility. During this, John discovers that the people at the facility gave him a mysterious drink that made his hands feel numb. Nick shares his own experience of not feeling his feet and seeing Haley unconscious in a room they can't enter. Determined to escape, Nick and John work together, using what they've learned. Nick carefully watches the facility's routines, noting which rooms people are taken to, the codes for opening doors, and how the staff communicates. At night, Nick secretly shares this information with John, preparing for their escape. During a test on shapes and colors, Nick refuses to cooperate with Dr. Damon, demanding to see Haley. Dr. Damon reluctantly agrees and takes Nick to her. Nick is heartbroken to see Haley in a coma, unable to respond. During one of their conversations with John, his voice abruptly cuts off, leaving Nick anxious. At the same time, a power outage occurs due to an experiment in a nearby facility. In the chaos, someone takes advantage of the darkness to escape. Fearful, Nick hides in the bathroom when the security alarm goes off. After a while, the lights come back on, and the workers return to their duties. However, the brief disturbance doesn't change Nick's situation. Escorted back to his room, Nick notices scratches in the hallway and asks about them, but the attendant says nothing. When he sees Dr. Damon again, Nick asks about John. Dr. Damon denies John's presence, saying he was never brought to the facility. This confuses Nick, as he's had daily interactions with John. With no response from John, Nick suspects he might have escaped, or is in danger. Feeling unsafe and determined to escape, Nick decides to make his move. He goes to Haley's room, attaches her stretcher to his wheelchair, and tries to evade detection. During his escape attempt, workers find a map with coded words in his room, indicating an escape plan. Nick uses the codes to open the gate, but the workers catch him immediately. He loses consciousness and wakes up back in the facility, as his body is aching from the failed attempt. Upon regaining consciousness, Nick finds himself in Haley's room. They exchange glances, and as Nick reaches out to her, doctors intervene, causing Haley to lose consciousness again. Later, Nick discovers his legs have been replaced with robotic limbs. Shocked and bewildered, he summons his courage and decides to escape. Aware that he is being watched, Nick ties a blanket around his legs, breaks down the door, and pushes through anyone in his way. Dr. Damon warns him about the dangers outside, but Nick remains resolute. He descends in the lift with Haley, revealing a long tunnel. They reach the end, finding themselves in a deserted area. Then, an old woman offers them a ride, but her strange behavior makes them uneasy. The woman abruptly stops and starts laughing loudly, prompting Nick and Haley to exit in fear. They reach a gas station and find a truck. Nick tries to make a call, but there's no network. News of their escape is broadcast on TV, and the truck driver attempts to take Haley back to the facility. Nick chases after them, getting thrown down by the driver. To his surprise, he stands up and runs faster with his robotic legs. Suddenly, Haley intervenes with a gun, stopping the truck. They escape together, leaving Dr. Damon and his team searching for them. On the way, Nick and Haley encounter the same lady who had previously given them a ride. Unfortunately, she can't provide any useful information. As they continue their journey, they find the road ahead closed, forcing them to turn the truck and take another route. However, after traveling a short distance, they realize they are retracing their steps. Perplexed by this, they come across a visitor center nearby. Upon entering the visitor center, they discover a map revealing that there's only one road in the entire area. Considering Haley's deteriorating condition, they decide to stay for the night. As night falls, facility personnel arrive to search for them, prompting Nick and Haley to hide. In the visitor center, they reunite with their friend John, who is hiding in a protective suit. Meanwhile, Dr. Damon interrogates the visitor center's owner about Nick and his companions. The owner acts irrationally, and in response, Damon shoots and kills him. Leaving with his team, Damon continues his pursuit. Then, Nick notices the same numbers on Haley's neck as those on her hands, intensifying his concern. John explains that when these numbers are added up, they equal 51. This revelation indicates that they are in Area 51, a place where secret experiments are conducted. Realizing the gravity of their situation, Nick, Haley, and John decide to formulate a plan. They gather supplies from the visitor center, knowing they need to outsmart Dr. Damon and his team to survive. As dawn approaches, they prepare to move cautiously, aiming to find a way out of the mysterious and dangerous Area 51. The next day, the trio sets off in the truck along the familiar road. At a military checkpoint, John boldly tries to maneuver through, but the soldiers block their path with a massive pillar, bringing the truck to a sudden halt. Determined to overcome the obstacle, John rushes to the military system room to hack into their system and clear the way for their escape. However, the situation escalates quickly as the military retaliates with gunfire, resulting in a violent explosion that leaves John severely wounded. Despite his injuries, John manages to make it back to the truck, urging Nick to drive away. Then, John uses his remaining strength to break the obstructing pillar, allowing Nick and Haley to escape. However, their moment of relief is short-lived as they encounter Dr. Damon and his armed team. As Nick races away from the wrecked truck on his robotic legs, Dr. Damon's men sabotage it, causing a terrible crash. Both Nick and Haley are badly hurt, and Haley looks like she's not breathing. Suddenly, a helicopter from the facility arrives, and Haley is quickly taken away. Fueled by anger and determination, Nick stands up with his advanced robotic legs. When he sees Dr. Damon's tag name changed to Nomad, Nick realizes Nomad is Dr. Damon himself. Dr. Damon finally confesses to Nick. He admits to hacking the college server and tricking Nick into coming to the hotel. He blames Nick for what happened to their friends, saying they were part of bad experiments with alien technology. With his extraordinary alien tech legs, Nick becomes the most successful subject in their secret experiments, much to Damon's satisfaction. The shocking revelation sends Nick into a rage, his body heating up and his alien legs glowing. Fueled by fury, he races across a bridge, only to be whisked away by an unseen force to an alien spaceship. As Dr. Damon sheds his human guise, revealing his true alien form, he unveils the bizarre truth about Nick's new surroundings. Looking out into space, Nick sees strange symbols resembling Earth's Area 51, but with an otherworldly twist. Now, trapped on the alien ship, Nick realizes that he is surrounded by more vessels, each holding humans like himself, subjected to mysterious experiments by these advanced beings. The movie ends with a chilling glimpse into an ongoing cosmic experiment, as the ships move toward an unknown fate in the depths of space. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps.